Hi, again, this is Dr. Howard Pallay. This is my Functional Nutrition Podcast. This should be session number 2. I'm trying to keep them 10, 15 minutes. I'd rather make more of them, and you can take your time looking them over. Hopefully, eventually, we'll edit them and give you each one actually a title. This one's going to be a little bit about how I do my work, my systems analysis. But I want to start by talking a little bit about I call it Dr. Pallay's 5 food groups, okay? It's kind of funny because I originally prepared this as a lecture for kindergarten and first grade children. I was asked to speak at a local school. I, said, sure, why not? And what can I teach these little kids? And I came up with, I call the Dr. Pallay's 5 food groups, and I taught it to these kids, and then, of course, the little light bulb went off over my head on the way home, and I said, you idiot, why are you not teaching this to your adult patients? So here we go, adult, young, children, whoever happens to be watching this, okay? Dr. Pallay's 5 food groups. It may seem very simplistic to you, but a lot of people really don't understand, and I'm going to try and explain it to you. So you think about it this way. The first food group is very obvious. It's like really, really bad food. What can we think about that's really, really bad food? How about some sweet, sugary, sticky, gooey, made with crappy oil and white flour chocolate cake? You know that that's not really good for you, okay? Again, as I said in my first podcast, a lot of this has to do with how often and how much you do it. If you have a little slice of cake at a wedding every few months, it's not going to dramatically destroy your health unless you're already a full-blown diabetic, of course, okay? We're talking about people who don't have a full-blown diagnosis. We're talking about the norm and the average in the beginnings of this work as we then get into the system analysis and dealing with people who have more serious problems and talk about cases and functions and different organ systems. So, sticky, gooey chocolate cake, we can agree on that. Listen, greasy fried bacon, not a healthy thing. Whatever they want to tell you in these new diets, these newfangled diets where they say, oh yeah, just eat tons of protein. Listen, you got to eat a healthy diet. You have to find ways to take weight off if you have a problem. But you can only do crash dieting for 2-3 weeks. You can't do it longer than that. And it's not okay to go all protein or all anything else, all fruit. No. The only thing you can pretty much go all, you kind of can go all vegetable. But I have my doubts about a full vegan diet as well, as far as it being super healthy, okay? I'm not trying to get after you vegetarians out there. You're all great people. You're in the right path. You're doing the right thing. But I'm really, really not sure that full vegan is the answer. I think people need to eat a little bit of fish, eggs. That's good enough for me. Because there are things in the protein, of healthy proteins, that you can't totally get from vegetables. We are not animals that were meant to be full vegan. We are kind of carnivores, okay? And our genetic ancestors were kind of carnivores too. Again, not saying if you want to do it, but you got to be very careful about getting your B12 up. There are supplements that you should take as a vegan. And supplementation is important too, because even if you became a vegan now, you weren't a yogi eating a aesthetic diet and doing Buddhist yoga and spiritual praying your whole life. So we have to fix what happened to you before. It doesn't just go away because you started to eat healthy. So we have to fix things. That's what my job is into guiding you with. But first we want to know how to take care of yourself, how to be healthy, okay? So first food group is very, very unhealthy food. That's pretty obvious. How about super healthy food? Well, how about steamed vegetables with a little bit of ginger and garlic? If you make it, you can make healthy food, and we'll teach you some of that as we go along too. But steaming is first most healthiest way to eat things. Raw is too, but you're really not supposed to have that much of a raw diet. And juicing is okay up to a point. Sometimes it overloads the liver a little bit, okay? And we're going to talk about the function of the digestive tract because that's the beginning point of all healing. The food you put in, how your digestive tract functions and absorbs and eliminates. That's the beginning point of all good nutrition and nutritional healing and the functional nutritional work that I do. Okay? So examples of super healthy food. How about a steamed with a ginger garlic sauce and a little light low sodium soy sauce. Um, in again a piece of fish, any kind of fish you like, especially the fatty fishes, the halibuts, the tunas, the salmons, because they have natural fish oil. Now I do like fish oil supplements, but there are good ones and bad ones. Again, depends on who made it a lot of the time. And we're going to talk about it again. I'm sorry, but I'm not grooving on Costco and pharmaceutical companies because you need to read labels, people, okay? And stop worrying about saving a couple of dollars. Buy better quality food, put better quality gas in your car. If it needs high test, you got to put it in, okay? Eat better quality water, drink better quality water, spring water, not purified water that they sterilized after it came from a sewage treatment plant. If you can afford it, you want to spend a couple extra dollars, as a couple of my buddies laughed at me about years ago. Pete, you're out there somewhere. And to save $1, instead of getting a good, healthy Poland spring water or other brands, and I have nothing to do with spring water companies. But let's face it, Costco's and these big supply chains, they have a lot of good stuff there. But when you buy a bottle of vitamins and supplements and it says distributed by, it means you don't know who made it, you don't know where it came from, you don't know how it was made. You need to deal with companies that are the manufacturers, manufactured by. You need to deal with the premier groups and spend a couple of extra dollars. I'm going to guide you on that. There are some better companies out there, and you need to eat better quality stuff. I always laugh. My practice on the North Shore of Long Island, and I have very wealthy patients sometimes, and even some of them, they want to buy the cheapy version of my stuff. I said, listen, okay, I can't tell you if it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to absorb. I don't know if it's going to have the effect you want. It makes a difference. For example, we're going to jump aside for a second, talk about one of my favorite things. Vitamin C, super important, okay? But guess what? The biggest effect of vitamin C is to get into the mucous membranes of your upper respiratory system, okay? If you put massive loads of it into your digestive tract, it's going to irritate your intestines and then your kidneys and can give you kidney stones. Known thing. You could use a lower dose that absorbs well in a chewable or a liquid, and I prefer chewables. And the way I like them is, I'll tell you the brands I like as we go along, but you put one in each cheek, you let it dissolve a few minutes, then you chew it up every morning. You do it more often when you're starting having little colds or little flus or more serious problems. You start loading up on C. Now, the medical people sometimes do an IV of vitamin C, even for the coronavirus, by the way, but I don't know if that's the whole answer, and that's not my talk and my field, okay? Let's get back to slightly unhealthy foods, slightly healthy foods. You can kind of figure these things out a little bit. It's not hard to figure out which category it goes in. So let's talk about the middle category. Now I call that neutral. What does neutral mean? It means you get calories from that food, and you need calories. That's the energy of life. Of course, your calories should be earlier in the day, okay? So you use them for energy. When your metabolism slows down later in the day, if you eat too much calories at night, too much carbs at night, your body is turning down and it deposited as fat in your muscle layers, in your skin and adipose tissue, and in your liver, by the way, okay? Which is not a good thing and will one day lead to a fatty liver. So, you want to eat early in the day your carbs, but you need carbs for energy. But, you think about it, okay? So I'm going to give you an example. Macaroni and cheese. If you don't have a milk allergy, okay, if you're not allergic to anything that's in it, because those are a caveat emptor about things you have to know about yourself. We're talking through the internet and through a camera, okay? You have to know what your health history is. These are the generalizations now, and I'm not treating you through this system. I'm giving advice, giving knowledge. I'm a teacher. All doctors are supposed to be teachers, and all the good ones are, and I mean that. So, mac and cheese, it's not really that unhealthy. It's certainly not healthy. It's calories, it's carbs, it's filler. Your body needs food. You have an engine, and you hear me talk about that a lot, about your body as an engine, like a car. and you got to put good quality gas in. You got to put high test when you need it, and you have to care about it. You can't let it go on empty. Okay? Your car has to function in the optimal level. It needs a tune-up sometimes. Maybe physically going to a chiropractor, walking, going to the gym, swimming, getting a chiropractic adjustment, going to a nutritionist who helps you figure things out and get your body back into balance and back into rhythm and get your body functioning properly. Okay? So it's Dr. Pallay's 5 food groups. You can have fun at home and start thinking about which food falls into which food group. I'll give you another example from my childhood. Oh, I used to love a slice of frozen Sara Lee pound cake after you defrosted it. Okay? You know, this goes back to a famous Bill Cosby routine. I'm sorry, Bill Cosby's a bad dude, but you know what? He was a funny guy in his day. Give credit where credit's due. And he always said one of the funniest things once. He said, you know, my wife left me home to take care of the kids. Hey, I took care of my kids a lot. Times have changed, okay? Including all the other Cosby things. But he said, my wife left me home, and the kids, you know, I had to feed them breakfast, and the kids are going, Daddy, Daddy, we want cake, we want cake, we want cake. So, oh, no, I can't give you cake. And you know, Mommy will get mad at me. Then I thought about it and said, what's in cake? There's milk, there's flour, there's eggs. Breakfast! And I gave the kids cake. So it's very funny, but please don't eat cake for breakfast. But the concept is that some of these things, if you don't do too much of them, are calories and carbs, and your body needs that for peristaltic movement. It needs it for energy. It needs to digest it and metabolize it. Everything can't just be greens. Greens should be a large part of it, and not raw. Probably the most important thing to put into your human body is what? Since nobody can answer here, water. Number 1, far and away. Let's talk about water for a minute. Just so you know, there's nothing wrong with coconut water and these smart waters and everything else, but all kidding aside, they can't hydrate better than water. Water is hydration. You can't do better than water, okay? You can have a slightly better quality water, like a spring water that has normal minerals in it. Distilled water actually will leach minerals out of your body. Purified water is kind of in the family of distilled water, okay? So a healthy spring water is ideal, okay? All the other waters we'll talk about some other time. There's certain nutrients in them, but there's certainly better ways to spend your money and get nutrients than it is just coconut water, okay? So we talked about a little bit. So number 2 thing to put into your body is vegetables, steamed in a soup, lightly sauteed, okay, with a healthy oil. We'll talk about that a little bit, okay? Then we come to soups. People don't understand soups are the most healthy thing in the world, okay? In parts of China, like Guangzhou and Hong Kong, soups are everything to them. They make them interesting, they make them unusual, okay? And they make them healing, and they make them healthy. But the point is, soup fills you up. You can subsist just on soup if you put good stuff in it, okay? It's like greens, and you don't have to worry about the nutrients going away because they're in the soup, okay? If you eat meat, oxtail soup, one of the healthiest things in the world for people with back problems. Because once you put a little black vinegar in, it leaches the minerals and the calciums out of the bones. You eat the cartilage. Cartilage heals cartilage. It really does, okay? This is one of the healing things that you do in Eastern healing that we Western people need to be taking advantage of more and more, okay? One more thing, and then we're done with the second podcast of my series. It has to do with food preparation. And we'll get more and more into food. But you have to understand something. You could take, remember the Pallay's 5 food groups? You could take healthy food. If you prepare it in an unhealthy manner, it's now unhealthy food. You cannot take unhealthy food and make it healthy. It doesn't work that way. So food preparation is very important. It's not okay to have fried food. It's not okay to deep fry a turkey, okay? You need to understand how you make things affects your health. You are what you eat. The gasoline you put into your car matters. The food that you give to your fish and to your plants and to your dogs and cats. The care you take of your car and your house. People, you need to take care of yourself. You need to put better things into yourself. And that's going to be about nutrients and how you eat and the basics of the nutritional program, which will be in the next podcast. Then later on, we'll get into systems analysis and case-by-case study. Thank you for listening, and have a great day, and be safe and be healthy.